Right, everybody, Nick here with Sirling's Lot. Going to do a side audit here in the health niche. So, a little background. They are with our MLB program, that's Managed Link Building, where we handle all your link building needs. But the site is not progressing after 2 months in Managed Link Building. So, I've done this is from the client. I've done a couple of sites before and never has SEO progress been so slow. It also happens to be the most I've spent on SEO efforts. More money seems not necessarily mean more better, and that's fine for now. My question is this common? Is there something wrong? I just don't understand why it's been 3 or 4 months of 10 impressions a day on Google. Everything I see is fine in terms of on-page and speed rankings. Can't shake that feeling that there's a bigger problem I'm not aware of. Okay. Yeah, I love it when you guys give us detailed information here. This is great. I'm going to go ahead and just right out of the gate, I don't know when it was that you were doing SEO, but these timelines are definitely very normal now. And you're in health, so you can expect this stuff to be like extended, quite honestly. There's a lot of trust that has to go on, to get you moving in these SERPs specifically. So yeah, like 3 or 4 months total for this project, and then 2 months with Managed Link Building, to me, incredibly short, not something I'd be worried about, but let's go ahead and dive in. So we'll start with on page. All right. Just going through, we got our products separated. Cool. See what these permalinks look like. Good. That looks good. Permalinks that I'm looking at look good. And categorized, so I'm guessing this is probably to the blog. Kind of interesting pieces there. Not seeing a footer here, which I think is kind of interesting, especially for like a health site. You want your name, address, phone number, and things of that nature to be crawlable via the footer, especially for like a health site. Like, you want to mimic exactly like what these people are doing. Got a lot of different products here. I kind of went through some of these, and I remember finding some ghost pages. Let me see if I can find one. Where basically like there was no products under some of these. Yeah, here we go. So like here's one of them. And I guess that's not the end of the world, but still, you don't want too much of this stuff going on. It's going to seem like, thin content. It's better to, if you don't have these products, maybe do an out of stock page or something like that, where the product description is still there, but it's not available. But stuff like this, especially if there's a bunch of them, kind of creates these dead ends. And again, no footer, nothing like that. Let's see what your services are here. Stock images. Doesn't read like AI stuff, so that's good. But again, for like health and stuff too, you really want to make sure that this looks very trustworthy from, the client end, maybe not so much the crawler end, but still stock images are, for health, I go the extra mile, and I would make sure I've got unique everything, quite honestly. So basically random contact us. And like these 2 pages, like, I'm not really sure what you're trying to do with them, but to me, it looks like stuff that can be cannibalized. It's redundant, and really it could just be the same page, and maybe, you kind of flesh out the content that way. If you've got too many pages that are not targeting any specific SERP or anything, then it's going to kind of look like just thrown out there content that doesn't really serve any purpose, and that's going to not really help your case in rankings. Let's go ahead and do the About Us. Stock images. So this is good here. And like you're on the right track here. You've got, info here, that's solid. Some stuff that's going to help is like, links to maybe some of these people's socials, LinkedIn, things of that nature, especially if we're talking in the health niche, like medical documents and stuff like that, or, pages can always go a long way for this stuff. So like if they can get, medical journal access, things of that nature, or links from those kinds of websites, it helps with the whole story here as far as EAT goes. Which I think, like, you're really, for a medical site, I feel like you're really lagging in EAT here. And we'll try and go over some competitors and kind of see what we see or what we get there. Contact us. All right, so you've got like, a name, address, a phone number. That's all good to see here. Let's put it in the footer. But another thing too, if I was a client looking for some of this machinery, I'd want to see a lot more out of this website, because I'm guessing like, none of this stuff is cheap. It doesn't look cheap. Like we're talking about some high-end med tech. So, from a perspective of like what the end user is getting, I think there's more to be desired, and definitely for the crawlers as well. Now we're in the blog. There's 2 articles only, and I talk about this a lot lately. A lot of people are ignoring their blogs. They're saying that informational content is dead. AI is taken over for all the Google SERPs and things of that nature. It doesn't matter. If you want to get mentioned by the LLM, if you want to look like an authority on the subject, etc., then you keep content going through the site, and you ensure that you're building out your topical map and you are an authority on these subjects. The way you're going to get mentioned by the LLMs, even if they have taken over for those SERPs, is by fleshing everything out. So yeah, if there's only 2 articles here, that would be something like, you're not going to build in 4 months, you're not going to build a site that sells what I'm guessing is like $50,000 to $100,000 pieces of machinery. And even if they're not that much, let's say 10,000 or whatever, you're not going to rank at the top positions by building out, what basically like operates like an old school affiliate style site, right? Like, and I'm not trying to bash it. There's plenty of ways to remedy what's going on, but yeah, again, we'll just go over some competitors, and I'm sure that'll kind of like clear up some of this stuff. So what is this? This is just a random blog article. The permalink isn't, this isn't really going after anything in particular as far as a SERP goes. No interlinking going on here. And like this is like almost like an About Us page kind of bit of information. It doesn't look like it's AI written, at least, right? But you want to have each page serve a purpose, like go after concise SERP based on keyword research, things of that nature, and it's going to help. The crawlers want to make sense of this site. If it just seems like a bunch of random information, they're not going to know where to place this stuff. They're not going to know where to put it in the SERPs, and it's just going to end up not moving anywhere, right? So that would be some other stuff that I would definitely work on, get content going through the blog based on keyword research, based on, stuff that your competitors are doing, etc. So yeah, if I'm being honest, like there's a lot to be desired, especially for this type of website in the health niche from an on-page perspective. Let's go ahead and jump into off-page. You know, decent amount of referring domains. If you only got started with us 2 months ago, I don't think you probably got started with backlinking before then, I'm guessing, depending on what the budget is, which I did not check. But yeah, you're not really moving anywhere. You haven't really even started taking off yet, quite honestly, from here. 85 referring domains for like 4 months is pretty solid. So there's some work being done there. Let's see what the anchors look like. A lot of branded, a lot of naked. This all looks good to me. I don't see anything glaring at me that looks spammy, that looks like you're trying to manipulate anything. And especially starting out, then that's what you want to do. You want to be very safe and move, just to get authority to the website itself and allow for crawlability through everything, right? But that, of course, means you want your site structured well, and you want new content going through there, and you want everything, to look the way you want it to look. Referring domains, just to get an idea. I see a lot of foundational and pillow linking in here. Let's go to backlinks. So, I see some good links in here. Stuff like this. Go to the home page, natural. You got plenty of foundational links here. That's fine. Stuff I like to see, yeah, what are, I'm guessing, either guest posts, niche edits, or something like that, but we've got niche relevant information, whatever. From backlink perspective, I think, things look fine, healthy, nothing to worry about there. But what we'll do now is we'll see how you stack up to your competitors. So let's go over what they look like. We'll click on organic competitors over here and we'll pull up, some that Ahrefs think are popping up for your niche. You just pull these 3 up. They've got some videos and stuff like that. That's another thing, you could stand to have your socials out there and maybe pump some content through them, etc. That'd be another thing that's good. And honestly, like even this competitor, I really don't much care for some of the stuff I'm seeing. Oh, okay, but see, I guess the homepage was set up kind of funny, but here they've got their NAP and all that stuff. So then it starts looking good. I do like that they have their products set up like this. That looks nice. It's not a must, but right, like this has good categorization. As we go down it, it's easily crawlable. You can find what you're looking for. Their services are well defined. We got overview here. But this is also more fleshed out, right? Like they're really showing their expertise, what they work on, etc. I don't know what this means, but okay. They've got everything is clean permalinks. And it looks good. I mean, this is what a website in the health niche has to look like and kind of feel like in order to get that movement in the SERPs. Let's find some if we're talking about EAT, I don't know what this is, but let's see. Downloadable certificates, company overview. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so they got their headquarters. They've got several. Looks pretty good. I would still want to see a little bit more in here, but recent news specifically on their website, or I mean on their company. Carl, get out of here. Sorry, my dog came in here. Go. Careers pages, right? Whole lot of stuff going on here, but it resonates like an actual company. You've got chatbot, contact us, phone number, upload your order, all sorts of different things. So let's go to the next one. It's down for maintenance. Let's throw this one into Ahrefs and let's just see what we're working with, backlink profile, etc. Dude, so like if I'm looking at from off-page standpoint, they're barely beating you here in aspects of things. They're ranking for a lot of stuff. But something else they've got going for them is they started back in 2021, right? So time in the game is of a huge win. They lost a ton of traffic in 23. And then, of course, in December 24, when everybody did, they lost some there. But if you look at recent period, like they're gaining a lot of traction here. And the main difference here is that they've got their on page more dialed in, more fleshed out, etc. But overall, they do have some nice links. I'm not going to lie there. But overall, I feel like this is a site, you could probably compete with from backlink standpoint, but it's the on page that's lagging. And, come in here, look through what companies like this are doing and basically copy their style, right? Like how the website is read by crawlers specifically, what kind of stuff they have that you don't have, etc. This one's down for maintenance, so let's just move on to this one. This one does refurbished equipment, but the same kind of equipment. Everything's crawlable. Here they've got a fleshed out footer, NAP here. All sorts of random information on the sales. I saw the last one had videos. This one has videos as well. Customer portals, right? Like all these things that add up to this being more of a solidified, legitimate business when we start looking at it. Everything nice and categorized properly. Permalinks looks fine. These guys as well, doing some sort of, e-com thing here. Quest service, parts, but everything is broken down really clean here. Everything seems to be going after exactly what it's supposed to be. Let's see what their About Us looks like. I mean, oh, here we go. Meet our team. I'd want to see these guys connected too as well, but this looks, proper, clean. I'd want to connect them to like LinkedIn and things like that. But again, just because they're not doing it doesn't mean you shouldn't. And if you see something like that, it's going to give you a competitive edge, right? Get socials connected to the team heads and things like that. And, sorry to say, but in this particular niche, you really have to work that angle. It does matter. So, yeah, I think we'll go ahead and check the off page here to see how far we are from working these guys. Sorry, that's subdomain. They've got a little bit more going on, right? But they're not even ranking for as much as the last one. They seem to have started dropping off in December as well a little bit. Earlier than that, also 2023, right? And here's where we saw core update changes, and this happened the last one, focused on EAT. right? Which is interesting because I said that both of these seem to be lagging in what I'd want to see for EAT. Well, they both found issues in 2023. These are advantages that you can, look at and take into account and then beat them over if you just practice things better than they do, right? So that's interesting information. Let's see what they've got going on here. This might be a little bit more spammy. Anchors look fine to me. That all looks normal. Decent amount of pillowing in here. That all looks normal too. Backlinks. And yeah, they have more referring domains and links than you, but I think at a glance, it's because a good amount of it is just pillow links. And compared to you at a glance, like that one's okay. And the other competitor that we were just looking at, I don't think this one's stronger backlinks are, I'm going to sort by DR, are as niche down as yours are. So quite honestly, I would probably say your backlink profile is looking healthier than these guys. Okay, so things you can do besides, watch this video and take some advice there. Check out all your competitors, look at what they're doing, look at what they're not doing that they should be doing, and then execute that with the on page. And then also understand that you are in a hyper competitive, hyper regulated niche, even if the product you're selling isn't really that regulated. It is very specialized, and it is in the health niche. So you've got to go the extra mile. And yeah, unfortunately now, even for websites that are not in such regulated niches, a 4 to 6 month timeline, it can be pretty normal depending on what you're doing. If you do things perfectly, you can get things sending within 4 months. But it's, I'm talking about in like local niches, user access stuff. Yeah. So, main factor that needs to be worked on here is on page. Remember that you are in a very competitive niche, that you're going to have to dot your I's and cross your T's. Hope that helps. I'll see you on the next one. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you found value in this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you can stay up to date with the latest in SEO strategies. For more in-depth resources and premium link building services, visit us over at sirlinksalot.co. And if you're looking to connect with other SEO professionals, join the conversation in our Facebook group over at the SEO Roundtable. Thanks a lot.